game segment this week. I kind of skipped out on my game segment last week. I'm going to try and add a game segment every episode if I can. This week, I decided to do a spot on Resident Evil: The Umbrella Chronicles. This game's a lot of fun. This is by far one of the best scrolling first-person zombie shooters I've ever played. It's it's not incredibly difficult, but it's not incredibly easy either. It's a lot of fun to play, as I've said numerous times already. Uh, it's basically you're replaying Resident Evil 0 all the way up through Resident Evil 3, and you get to relive some of those battles in a shooter kind of experience, and it's a lot of fun. My favorite was, of course, Nemesis. I'm a huge fan of Nemesis from the series, and you have to go up against Nemesis in one part of the game. And one thing that's kind of cheesy about this game, though, which I actually enjoyed it because it made a lot of fun, is the grenade launcher. I always take the grenade launcher on every mission I go on because it's basically a one shot kill. If you're in a pack of zombies and the pressure's on, you got the heat coming at you. You fire a couple grenades in there, and boom, they're gone. Um, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. I definitely recommend checking this out if you have a Wii or have managed to find a Wii. They're still kind of hard to come by, but they're getting more widespread than they used to be. The final segment this week is my music segment, where I'm doing a special comparison of Guar and the Finnish band that's often compared to Guar Lordi. The truth is, there really isn't much of a comparison between the two bands. The only comparison you can really give between the two bands is, yeah, they wear monster costumes on stage. The music stylings are totally different. Lordi is more like Alice Cooper and Kiss and Twisted Sister, whereas Guar is crazy. They started off as a thrash metal punk band, or more punk than metal, and then they kind of got more and more into the metal side of things, and they kind of stayed there ever since. The stage shows, again, there's a mild similarity, but the magnitude of the same stage shows are completely different. The Whereas Guar has, genitalia and mass butcherings on stage, the stage shows for Lordi are more pyrotechnics, a couple of cool gimmicky tools, and corpses and buzz saws and what have you on stage, but nothing quite as shocking and disturbing as what you see at a Guar show. Uh, I'm not taking any sides in this argument because I enjoy both bands thoroughly. I've been a long-time Guar fan. I've actually obviously been listening to Guar since a lot longer than I've been listening to Lordi, because Guar's been around a lot longer. But I really do like both bands. It's great to kind of have different bands to listen to from time to time instead of listening to the same old thing over and over. Uh, Furthermore, in the comparison, okay, the comparison that I'm about to do is comparison of Lordi versus Guar. Um, Basically, how they progressed as a band, and the way that I'm going to do this is I have the first two albums of each band, and I have the most recent albums of each band, and I'm going to kind of do a side-by-side comparison of how each band's progressed over the years, even though they're not really the same. So the first I'm going to do Lordi. Their first album, Get Heavy, is very 80s metal, very cool. A lot of great songs on this record. Um, I really enjoyed it. This wasn't their first album. This actually been newly released here in the States, whereas the Apocalypse was their first album officially released here. You can get just about any of their albums through Amazon or some other places online, which is how I happened to obtain their second album, which is the Monsterish Dream, and also another very good album. It's very much like Get Heavy, very 80s metal, still very cool, very monster themed. The Apocalypse is a little more metal. It's a little bit heavier of an album. It's just as good as the others. This is a band that's got a lot of staying power, I think, in the music world, considering they won the Eurovision contest in 2006. which the band, they go through spouts where they're pretty open about it, and then there's times where they just don't want to talk about it, and that's understandable because I mean I just think it's awesome that they're able to win a European wide music contest with musicians from other countries near and far. Very neat experience. One interesting thing about Lordi is their bass player. They started off with a bass player named Magnum, some kind of cyborg guy. He did most of the album work for Get Heavy, and then he had to leave for whatever reason. I still don't know the circumstances. Then they had a guy named G Stealer, he was basically like Kitta, their drummer, some kind of alien creature thing. And then came on Kalma, Death's son, which he was featured on the album Get Heavy, even though he really didn't play a note on the album. Then he was featured in the Monster Ocean Dream. He was on the cover and he played the music. Kalma did most, if not all, the bass work for the Apocalypse, and he's not even featured on the cover. Ox is, which is it's just kind of a funny way to show how their bass players progress throughout the years. Moving on to Guar, this is their first album, Hello, which is more of a thrash punk album than metal. Their humble beginnings, they evolved a lot since this album. Onto Scumdogs of the Universe, their second album, which is definitely a lot more metal. And this is one of their most noted albums in their entire career, and rightfully so because it is truly one of their best. And their most current release, Beyond Hell, is most definitely a metal album, hands down, beyond a shadow of a doubt. This is their special edition digipack with a bonus DVD. I think it has a bonus DVD in it. It's been a while since it has the bonus DVD in it with kind of making of stuff and a couple of skits. Very cool. Another cool thing is Lordi has a vinyl of the Apocalypse, which is signed by the band members, and it's on blue blood splattered vinyl. Very cool. Last but not least, my fashion accessory for the week. You can get this at cryoflesh.com. The Necrofiend mask, very cool to wear anytime. You see me out in public wearing this sometimes, and people look at me like I'm crazy, and they're kind of right. But I love this thing, and I'll wear it anywhere. That about does it for the second installment of Uberdemon's Movie Morgue. I hope you'd enjoyed it again, and come back and see me next time on YouTube. Enjoy.